Hi, I'm Kevin Hill, and today we're going to do another fun painting. So let's get started. We'll start off today with our 2-inch brush, some white, blue, and the tiniest speck of yellow. And we're going to come up here to the sky and drop in a beautiful, beautiful soft blue background. Now the reason I put that yellow in there, it is kind of strange, but I wanted, you notice it really doesn't change the color much, but I wanted the tiniest hint of a soft turquoise. That's really very little. The only way you would see it is if you put regular blue up here. Otherwise it's hard to tell. There. With a very soft gray on the 1-inch brush, I'm going to paint in some shadow to the clouds up here. Maybe we want, a big cloud right here somewhere. There. Very, very, very soft pale shadow today. Maybe we'll have a big mountain over here so we're not concerned about that area. Next I'll load up a filbert brush with some black, blue, maybe a touch of brown and red. And wipe it off on a paper towel so you don't get too much paint on there. And maybe up here we're going to kind of focus on a little cloud, a dark cloud. Floats right here. All right, so maybe you want a little more blue into that color. I'm gonna put a little more blue in it and see. Okay, you see the color difference? I like that even better. Great. Next, I'll pick up a little bit of white and yellow on the filbert brush and begin to brush in some clouds up here, some highlight to the clouds. In our painting today, I feel like the sunlight's coming in from this side. Maybe it's even coming in from behind the cloud, who knows? But I'm going to have the highlight on the right-hand side of the clouds. There we go. And then feather it right back in, very soft. It doesn't take too much, just a bit, not a lot of paint. Really don't want you to put too much paint on the canvas, because if you do, it'll become too slippery and you won't be able to paint over it. You're just not going to have a good time. So be very careful about that. Now I'll just take our filbert and brush in a little bit of an underpainting to these mountains. Something like that. The base of these are going to be covered with trees. And I started to kind of put a couple of trees in here. There we go. This is pretty quick and easy. Just kind of brush it right in. Changing the color slightly every time you reload is a good idea. Kind of just keeps it new and different. Now this one needs to be a little lighter. There. Just add a little white to that color. Next, with our filbert brush and some white, brown, and yellow. We're just going to drop on some highlight here to these distant mountains or cliffs. Just like that. Maybe this one kind of juts out just a little there. You can change your mind as you go along. That's completely fine. There. And I'm softening it back. You could use the knife, and we might do that later. But this mountain's pretty far away. So I don't want too much texture on it. That would bring it too close. Save the knife for the beautiful detail areas in the foreground, or a nice mountain that's a little bit closer. Next, I'll load the filbert brush with some black, green, and a touch of yellow, just to lighten it up. And back here, we're going to have some beautiful little evergreen trees. And you can paint evergreens so many different ways. But today, I'm going to do them with the brush, the filbert brush. There. And just go over and over and over again. You can kind of smudge them. I like to smudge them a little as I go, because that gives me a better effect. At least I like it better. You can have some that just are blurry like that. And you can put them in pretty quickly. There, and make a few more detailed. Now with our filbert brush and some black, green, and blue, let's go ahead and work on some nice large evergreen trees right here. And as you can see, we have a quick basic sketch on the canvas. It's just to kind of show me where we're going. There. Maybe we want these trees really pretty tall. There, we're getting close to the foreground now. This is going to be a nice little, maybe a river. We'll see. We may change this slightly, but I like the idea of having maybe a larger section here that's like a pool of water. I don't know. We'll see if it looks good or not. We can change it later. And then we can put some detail on these trees just by tapping. And this doesn't show up too good, but we'll highlight it. Then you'll see it easily. Now with our filbert brush and some very, very bright yellow, green, and white. Let's work on a little meadow back here. Maybe let's change the angle. Maybe this comes down like this. There we go. You can do any different angle that you want. Make it very, very bright. And I know this seems weird. It's kind of a weird way to do it. But it's easiest if you start with this very, very bright color first. And then you work your shadows in, because this way you get it 100% bright. Completely bright as you can get it. See this? Because there's no paint at all underneath to change the color. So what you put on is what you get, and that's nice. Then you can go back and add shadows. And fill in right here. There. Maybe set that brush down, pick up a fan brush, tap through a little bit of green, yellow. There. And start adding in the shadows. Next, with our 3/4 inch brush and some yellow, green, some black and brown, I'm going to use this to paint in some evergreen trees. And I know that sounds a little odd, but I really want this evergreen here in particular to be almost like one of the features to the painting. So I'm going to try using 3/4 inch brush on it. Why not? Just a trying a different technique. That's all. There. And I'm doing kind of this brown color because I want the top of this tree to be a little bit dry. All right, now as we go down, if you want it to turn into a little bit more green, just add a little more dark black, a little more green, yellow to the brush. It can turn a little bit more alive down here at the bottom, not so dry. It just gives it a little more interest because it is the feature of the painting, or one of them. There. Nice and dark down here. Really spread that paint around. But the 3/4 inch brush, the reason I wanted to use it is because I can take the end and I can get these very, very subtle little details like this. Next, I'll load up the 1 inch brush with a nice big amount of brown, touchy yellow, and some red. And I'm going to really cover this water area pretty well. Now today, we're going to do water that is very, very, very thin. There's not much of it. So what we're seeing here is all the rock underneath. I'm just painting this in first, and we will have white and blue ripples on top. That's what's going to make it look like water. So it's just kind of a different technique to paint a different style of water. You know, a water that's not so deep. There we go. Go all the way up to the edge of the painting there. To the edge of the plants, the edge of the land. There we go. just brush it right on. Cover up the entire canvas. Now let's work on highlighting these trees here. So I got the filbert brush in a very dark green. The way I made this dark green is really just blue, yellow, and black. There. Just tap it right on. I don't want anything so shiny that it stands out too much. That's why I wouldn't go with the bright green. There. Leave a lot of dark and just work quickly and randomly there so that you get all sorts of beautiful effects. Okay. And then maybe let's start working on this tree. This one's going to be very bright, but let's start with a nice darker base color, a base highlight. That way we have many things going on in the tree. You know how we like to do that. We have a middle tone and a shadow and a very bright highlight. And sometimes another color is somewhere in there. So a couple of middle tones. There. A lot of great shapes to these limbs, but I want to leave a lot of the trunk showing too. Maybe this comes all the way out like that. There. A lot of fun. Up there, tell you what, let's change colors. Let's change and put a little bit of dry leaves up here. There. Now with our little 3/4 inch flat brush, I'm going to drop in some great ripples on the water. Now this probably looks more like a path right now because it's so shallow. So this is what's going to bring it to life. And as it hits the rocks, it's going to splash. So maybe like right here, there's a splash. And then it comes around the rock. Be careful. Don't want to have muddy water. So try to keep your brush pretty clean as you do this. Wipe it off quite a lot. Next, with our liner brush, I'm going to drop in a lot of little blades of grass here. Now, I did not thin this paint down too much. Put a little bit of thinner in it, but not much. Because if I have a lot, then I would get very, very long limbs. Grass, not limbs. I get long grass. And that's not what I want right in this little area. I want short, tiny grass. There. I have a little more control with a slightly thicker paint, but it doesn't flow off the brush as much. So it's kind of a trade-off. But you can do whatever you need to make your painting the way you want it. There. And we may put some more details on here in just a minute. The last thing we're going to do here is just drop on a few beautiful mountain flowers. There. These are just so fun, and they add a great little final detailed touch. Very beautiful. They make the whole painting come alive to have little wildflowers. There. And this really gives the painting a lot of extra interest, and it makes it much, much nicer. There. All right, well, I think we're done. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Don't forget to check out my website, my DVDs, and also my brush line. And thanks for watching.